Hey mamas, it's your girl Carrie, and welcome back to another episode of Mom Wife Career Life. We're continuing our Becoming Her series, and over the last few weeks, we've been doing some really great reflection together. We started with the woman you've been becoming, letting go of the guilt and giving yourself permission to grow. Then we talked about the mom you want to be in this next season, more present, less reactive, and more aligned with what really matters. And last week, we focused on the partner you want to be, reconnecting beyond that to-do list and protecting your relationship with intention. And today, we're shifting it to another big piece of your identity, the career you want next year, because we're right here at the end of the year. We're closing one chapter and getting ready to open a fresh new one next week, which I still can't believe it. And before you start setting your goals and making those big plans, I really want you to pause and ask yourself, am I just surviving work, or am I intentionally building a career that supports the life I want? And I want to say this clearly up front. This episode is for both types of working moms: the mom who feels unfulfilled and knows that she wants something different, and the mom who actually likes her job, who values her career, and who wants to grow and lead and climb that ladder without burning herself out in the process. And if you've ever caught yourself reheating your coffee for the third or fourth time, so guilty, or jumping from meeting to meeting, checking boxes, but feeling totally disconnected, this episode is for you. And before we dive in, I created a new freebie. It's ChatGPT prompts made simple for working moms. It's going to help you clear that mental clutter, get unstuck, get things out of your mind, off your to-do list, so that way you can really take the time to do the work to become her. It's linked up in the show notes, so go grab it today. All right, mamas, let's jump right in. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work? Time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, a mom of three, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being so intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first, because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. Before we talk about survival mode and career alignment, I want to share something personal, because this episode isn't just something I teach. It's something that I've actually lived. I didn't just wake up one day feeling unfulfilled in the corporate world. On paper, I had built a really good life, a solid career, a family that I loved so deeply. We bought a house in the perfect town. I had the stability that I worked so hard for, and I was so grateful for that. But somewhere along the way, I started losing pieces of myself, and not all at once, but quietly and gradually, through always putting everyone else's needs first, through living in logistics and schedules, through responsibility and pressure. That led me to survival mode. And one day I realized something that was a little hard to admit. I was functioning, but I so wasn't fulfilled. I was accomplished, but I was grateful, but I was still questioning, is this really it? And then came the guilt, because how do you question your life and feel like you want more when you have so many things to be thankful for? And it wasn't about wanting more money or a different title, although I will not turn down more money. It was about purpose. I had stopped asking myself what lit me up. I stopped checking in with myself, not because I didn't want more, but because I was tired. And I kept telling myself, this is just the season I'm in. This is what responsible moms do. I'll figure it out later. But that later kept getting pushed further and further away. And that awareness, that moment of honesty, it really became the beginning of everything for me. Not because I rushed into change, but because I slowed down, I got clear, I started taking small, intentional steps that actually aligned with who I wanted to be and who I was becoming. And that's why I'm so passionate about this conversation and about this Becoming Her series. So let's talk about survival mode, because so many working moms are living there. You wake up early, you rush the kids out the door, you jump into meetings, you're answering emails, you're making phone calls, you're making dinner, you check homework, and then you collapse into bed to just do it all again tomorrow. You're checking boxes, but you're feeling checked out. And if you started wondering, is this what success is supposed to feel like? You're not alone. And that question does not mean you're ungrateful. Please hear me on that one. It means that you're evolving. You're meant to live on purpose and in purpose. And here's what I want to normalize. For some of you, alignment means change, a different role, a pivot, a side passion, something new. But for others, Alignment means climbing with intention. You actually like your job, which, if you fall into this category, you don't know how blessed you really are. You don't know the amount of moms I talk to that are so unhappy in their work, and it's where you spend the majority of your week. So just count your blessings in that one. And if you're in this category, you're good at what you do. You want to lead more, you want to earn more, you want to grow more, but not at the cost of your health, your family, or your identity. And this is where so many working moms get stuck because trying to climb that ladder without clarity, it often means saying yes to everything, working harder instead of smarter, being busy instead of strategic. But intentional growth, it looks differently. It starts with asking, what role do I want to grow into next year? What skills or visibility does that role actually require? Where am I saying yes out of habit instead of out of alignment? And you don't need to do more. You need to do what matters. And side note, I highly recommend the book Essentialism. It's what helped me get really clear on where I was focusing my energy at work and managing where I was spending my time. And you know I'm going to say this, time management, it isn't about squeezing more into your day. It's about creating more life in your week. When your time aligns to your value, everything shifts both at home and at work. You stop reacting, you start choosing, you become intentional about where your energy goes. And whether you're changing paths or you're climbing that ladder, this matters because here's the truth. Promotions don't come from burnout. Leadership does not come from exhaustion, and fulfillment, it doesn't come from living in survival mode. This next season of your career, whether that means growing where you are or moving in a new direction, it's not going to be created by doing more. It's going to be created by getting really clear and making intentional choices. And that clarity often starts with noticing the signals you've been ignoring. So I really want you to pay attention to the signs that you're ready for more, whether it's career growth or change. You might be ready for more in your career, whether that means stepping into a greater leadership role, redefining your role, or exploring something entirely new. If you've been experiencing any of these, you're totally capable and dependable, but you're no longer deeply engaged. Your days are full, yet something feels slightly off. You're catching yourself thinking, I can do this, but is this something I want to do long term? Maybe you're craving clarity, not escape. You want your work to feel aligned with the season of life you're in right now, not the one where you were years ago, especially if years ago you didn't have kids, because once you have kids, life just changes. And if you really want to be a present mom and grow in your career, you have to adapt. You have to make those changes. And you're going to feel those nudges. And those nudges, they're not dissatisfaction, it's discernment. It's you realizing that the version of success that once fit may need to be redefined. And here's what I want you to hear so clearly. You don't have to have all the right answers. You don't need to make big decisions today. Whether you're staying, whether you're growing, whether you're pivoting or you're exploring, that process all begins the same way, with awareness, with alignment, with those small intentional choices that we keep talking about, because the career you want next year, it isn't built overnight. It's built through consistent value-based decisions, one baby step at a time. And when you start managing your time around what matters most to you instead of defaulting to obligations, everything begins to shift. And if you're listening right now thinking, okay, I know something needs to change, but I don't know what yet, I want to introduce a simple framework I use not to force decisions, but to bring clarity. So I want you to listen to this with some paper and a pen or a pencil. You can listen to it now if you don't have that in front of you. Please do yourself a favor and come back to this when you are able to sit down and write it down. But I want you to think of your career path as one of these three options for the next season. The first path is stay where you are and stabilize. And this path is for the mom who generally likes a role, you feel aligned with the work you're doing, but you need better boundaries, more balance, or a little more support. And staying doesn't mean you're settling. It means you're choosing stability with intention. And this is what I want you to write down. I want you to ask yourself, what part of my current role actually works for me? The next is, what boundaries need to change for this to feel sustainable? And last, where can I protect my energy better next year? Because sometimes the best career move for you isn't changing jobs, it's changing how you show up and what you allow. The second path is to stretch and grow. This is the path for the mom who wants to grow, lead, or advance in your career. You feel underutilized and ready for more responsibility. You want to climb that ladder, but without burning out. And stretching doesn't mean doing everything. It means being really strategic. So I want you to ask yourself these three questions. What role or responsibility am I being called towards? The second, What skills, visibility, or relationship is going to help me get there? And last, where am I busy instead of intentional? Because growth comes from clarity and not overwork. And honestly, if you fall into path two, I want you to challenge yourself next year to find someone at your job that can mentor you. Reach out to them and just say, I'm looking for some career advice. I would love for you to be my mentor. Build that relationship, network, and just see where that takes you. The last path is shift and explore. And this path is for the mom who feels misaligned or restless. Maybe you're curious about something different. Maybe you're questioning your purpose in life. And this doesn't necessarily mean you want to leap. It just means you want to explore. And shifting doesn't require dramatic exit. It's going to start with curiosity. I want you to ask yourself these three questions. The first, what drains me consistently? The second, what lights me up even outside of work, especially outside of work? And last, what would I explore if fear wasn't leading the conversation? Because I'm telling you, moms, fear is what holds us back in life. And you don't need a 5-year plan for this. You just need the next aligned step. So how do you use this framework? The most important thing to remember is you don't need to pick a path forever. You're choosing what to focus on for this season. Staying, stretching, or shifting all require the same foundation. They require awareness, alignment, and intentional time choices. And no path is better than the other one. The best path is the one that supports the life you want to live right now. And maybe it means staying in a job that you're not happy with because it's lucrative and you have big goals next year of buying a house, going on a family vacation, or like me, trying to put your first through college. But that doesn't mean that you have to be unhappy with where you are. And it starts with that awareness. What will make me happier in the role that I'm in right now? So as we head into the next few weeks, I want you to ask yourself, which path am I being invited to in the season that I'm in? Is it stay? Is it stretch? Or is it shift? And you don't need to rush to an answer either. Clarity is going to come when you give yourself that space to listen. And that's exactly what we'll be building towards as we close out the Becoming Her series next week, when we step into designing a life that actually feels aligned, one intentional habit at a time. You're not starting over, you're starting aligned. And if you're not already in my Facebook group, or if you're not already on my email list, make sure you get on there, because I'm going to be hosting a workshop in January on how to use the entire Becoming Her series to really plan an intentional year. So scroll down to the show notes, get in there. And if you don't already follow the show, take a second and hit that follow button so you never miss another episode. Sending you so much love and holiday light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life, or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.